Welcome to Fly Fishing for Pike with Ripple Guide Service. Most of our pike fishing is done between the months of March and November. My family has been pike fishing the Yellow and Tippecanoe rivers for generations. In fact, my great-grandfather passed away pike fishing on the Tippy, and I have very few memories of my dad and I ever doing anything other than pike fishing. I was lucky enough to grow up on the Yellow River since the age of 4 and have been pike fishing it since then. The Yellow and Tippy are both small, beautiful streams located in northern Indiana and have plenty of land along the edges for camping and other outdoor activities. Our pike average between 28 and 32 inches, although there are a lot of bigger fish in the rivers and quite a few smaller ones as well. For northern Indiana, a river that averages 28 to 32 inch pike is pretty rare, and you can see in this video the reason. This is a shot on the Yellow River with hundreds of bait fish swimming by. And pike, being the opportunistic eaters that they are, take advantage of any sort of wounded fish that they can find. The flies that we're throwing for the most part are between 4 and 10 inches long, and we're normally throwing those on 8 weights with sinking lines, unless we're throwing poppers, which we often are as long as they're eating poppers, because it's just amazing to watch them eat a popper. Then we're throwing a floating line, and we're typically doing this out of a small custom-made John boat. As you'll see in the next few videos, both these rivers are very small, which is why we use that custom-made John boat. When they eat a popper or a slider just under the surface like that one did, they just about rip the rod out of your hand. The take on these small rivers is just unbelievable because they are small and they're fairly shallow, so if you keep your eye on the fly, which obviously with a popper and or a slider isn't hard to do, but if you keep your eye on the fly, you'll see every take. It's a very visual fishing experience. What we're looking for fishing wise is a hole like this. It's about 4 to 5 feet deep with very little or no current, and if it has some cover like some logs, that's great. You'll see in this video again we've got 4 to 5 feet of depth, no current, and there are a few logs. If you watch those pike eat, again, they were fishing subsurface here with a sinking line, and pike go 0 to 30 miles an hour in their body length. So you're just stripping the fly along, you're watching that fly move, and all of a sudden, wham, the pike eats it and literally about rips the rod out of your hand, especially on the bigger fish. Pike are pretty good fighters. Even the small fish fight well. This is an average size fish here, about 30 inches it looks like. They don't fight like steelhead. They're not going to run 25 miles an hour at 100 yards away, but they are good fighters, especially when you get the big fish on. This next video, I left the audio from the day going instead of doing a voiceover because I want you to hear how exciting it is when a fish eats. It's just like a jolt of electricity is shot into the boat. It's just as cool as it gets in fishing, in my opinion. Watch that fly come along and wham, all of a sudden there's a swirl on top.
Yes, yeah, boy. Alright. Get him over here. Nice job, buddy. There we go. Now bring him over here, little guy. Nice work, buddy. Got him. Good job, man.
Here we have a tight little spot with a popper. The neat thing, there it is, that take on a popper is just so cool. Forget about the fact that we lose this fish into the logs, which does happen, very rarely, but does happen on occasion. That take on a popper, though, is about as awesome as it gets in fly fishing for pike. If they're eating poppers, we're throwing them for sure. This next fish is on a subsurface fly, and watch the take, watch the swirl. There it is. Boom. When they eat an 8-inch fly going 30 miles an hour, it is as neat a thing as you ever will see in fly fishing. Again, look at the wood that we're fishing there. We've got about 4 feet of water, really no current there, and it's completely wood lined. A lot of ambush places there for a pike to be sitting to ambush its prey. This is a fish that's a little above average. I think this one was about 34. And back to fight another day. This next fish is a nice little tight spot, perfect area. If you can watch the fly there, you'll see that fish eat it. Boom. Again, about 4 or 5 feet of depth, no current at all, and a little bit of wood to guard his lair there. Perfect ambush spot for a predator fish. Look how small this river is in this spot. Wait till you see this fish. Again, these rivers aren't big. They're very small, and some of the deepest holes are 8 feet deep. Most of the time we're fishing 3 to 5 feet of water. So again, if you keep your eye on the fly, you'll see every take. It's a very visual experience. This is a pretty big pike, especially for a small river like this. I really enjoy all the guiding I do, whether it be steelhead, salmon, smallmouth, trout. But pike really have a special place in my heart. I think it's because it goes back into my family history and the generations before me that pike fished. And putting people on pike on the Yellow and Tippy rivers, for me as a guide, is about as fulfilling as a fishing trip can be. I really thank you for checking out today's video. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, always let me know. Thanks again.